Hello Virgo and welcome to your monthly forecast. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. We're going to look at the month of September here, and this can be used for your sun, rising, moon, or Venus. And you can also watch this either in advance of the month or during the month. Either way is fine. A lot of people prefer to do both because that way you're prepared and then you can jog your memory as the month continues. All right, let's get started. I always begin with dream interpretation at the beginning, which yields channeled messages. It's basically my way of talking to spirit. And I got all of this energy around beginnings. It felt to me very much like the first day of work or school, or just like you were stepping in the door of something new. What's nice about this is it's all coming up aces, like the title said, it's opportunities. But sometimes when you're beginning with a new group of people, a new project, or just something that hasn't yet been perfected, there can be one or two unexpected hiccups or delays. These are easy to navigate, provided that you add a little bit of extra time, preparation, and that you're just patient with yourself. That's what I saw. For me, what I was looking at was someone waiting at a computer and the login wasn't quite working, or looking at an ID and it felt like something was wrong. So these are minor little changes that you can deal with, but again, you don't want to be in a hurry and you don't want to kind of run things up against the final deadline. I think as long as you do this, you're going to be fine. All of these, I was actually shown the number one a few times. I even saw a bill with the number one on it associated, kind of like that first dollar or first pound that you make somewhere. And it's basically saying this represents a first step in a new chapter. It's symbolic. It's about opening new doors. You could pick any ace you want, but since it was connected to a school and work, I did the Ace of Pentacles here. But this is a new experience. Approach it with openness. Approach it with enthusiasm. And like any ace, it's like a little baby. It needs to be nurtured and cared for. I talked about this a little bit in the weekend forecast that I just did. So make sure that you feed that energy and put into it what you need to, and that's going to be important. Okay, next, I saw that there was some potential miscommunication or misinterpretation that could be happening here. So I think it's going to be really important not only to set expectations, but to check assumptions. So if somebody gave you instructions or set the sort of like ground rules for something, before proceeding to whatever it is that you're going to do, just say, one quick question. This is what I heard. This is what I'm going to do. Does that resonate? Is that correct? Is that what I should be focusing on? Also take the initiative. Let's say no ground rules have been set, no initiation for this conversation has happened. You can be the one that opens the door and says, like, hey, I really want us to succeed in whatever it is that you're doing. This is my expectations. This is what I need. Do you have any? Let's make sure that we get that kind of like hammered out at the beginning. Okay. Again, if you're not clear, ask. So there might be a couple of delays, but there's a lot of doors that are opening up. There's an opportunity for you to step into your power. And Virgo, if you can do this month, I think you're going to be off to a great start. All right, let's take a look and see what the Celtic Cross has to show for this month ahead. Hope all of you are doing well. If you ever want to look at any of the tarot decks that I use, they're all on my website. I'll put a link in the pinned comment below. This one is Tarot of the Abyss. All right, in the catalyst, we have a gem, and it's a single gem, which I would connect with the Ace of Pentacles, one of the most valuable symbols here. You can imagine it as any semi-precious or precious gem. What we're going to talk about is value, facets, and basically kind of being like a diamond in the rough here. So the catalyst helps us stay on track. It helps us create action, just like that caption said. What's going on here could be two things. One is simply an encouragement from the universe to see your own value, diamond in the rough. It's there, but maybe if you can't see it, let's put it this way, if you can't see it, it's going to be very difficult for others to embrace and see it. You may also be in an environment where people are just looking for the finished product. They can't use their imagination to see potential. So this card came through from Spirit today as an encouragement and an affirmation of your inherent value, your potential for the future, and as basically an encouragement for you to embrace this Ace of Pentacles and say, let's do something with this. If someone else can't see my value, I can, and I'm going to do something with that opportunity, okay? Beautiful energy. The other thing with this is if we were to look at a crystal, a gem, any kind of sort of faceted object, you only see what's in front of you, but as you start to spin it, that's when the light starts to capture and kind of light it up. So don't be afraid to show people other parts of your talent, your skills, your passion, your personality, because that's when they can truly fall in love with you, when they see just how rich and faceted, multifaceted you are. So what a very encouraging catalyst to come through. The opportunity this month is how are you going to shine those facets on the other parts of the forecast. So let's get started with your center card. We have Temperance in the reverse state, which can represent impatience, or for some of you, an opportunity to create better balance in your life. Normally, we would see an angelic figure with 2 cups, finding balance within those 2 cups, putting 1 foot in the water, 1 foot on land. In this one, we have 2 cups that are kind of grounded, and this energy starting to grow out of it. So if the grounding is not present, the same sort of message is coming through, which is you might be trying to rush something, you might be trying to do too much, and we have the regular card here, it was right near the top. And so this is a chance to create that better balance in your life. Some of this could come from simply saying no to things, and also by understanding that, we were talking about at the very beginning, creating a new energy in your life, something new, a new chapter, a new beginning. It doesn't grow overnight. It's not like Jack and the Beanstalk where you see everything immediately. So patience with the process. And sometimes the process is out of our control, so I get that. Crossing this card, though, we also see ambiguity, the 8 of Swords. Do you see me? Do you hear me? Do you appreciate me? You may be in a relationship or a job or an environment where people are not very communicative. And when they are, they may only kind of go to the critical or constructively critical, but they're not going to the pleasant, to the complimentary. So it's okay sometimes to say, was this done to your liking? Is there anything you need me to improve? What do you like in what I have done? And, so kind of you can try to get the constructive and the complimentary elements if you're trying to make sure that you're doing a job well done. And otherwise, it's basically saying, this may just be indicative of the energy of the people around you, and it may not change. So it's asking you, can you be patient with that? Or is this something that's just not really copacetic for your kind of growth? And if that's the case, you can always seek a different experience. But by and large, this is still a great card, and it's showing that you're being led and you're being guided, but you have to listen and be present and patient enough to see this path that's unfolding. And you always see flowers and growth on this one. So growth is happening, but it's subtle. Just like things, for those of you that tune in behind me, you'll notice that the flowers change over time. I'm actually getting second growth on both my Easter lily and also my amaryllis. They're blooming a second time this summer, but it takes time. I thought it was done, and then all of a sudden they started to grow again. So give yourself patience. It's when you kind of ignore something a little bit that sometimes it comes to the surface. It's the law of detachment. So detach a bit from needing it right now. Focus on where the energy is and see if that doesn't yield better results. Again, going to this gem or diamond in the rough, you just may be at a place where they can't or won't see that. And again, someone else will see the potential if they won't. All right, in the deep past, we have the 10 of Cups. It is in the reverse state, and so what's coming through intuitively for me was releasing the desire, the need, the sort of pattern of trying to get validation externally. If we flip the card in the upright position and look at it close up, we can see a hand outstretched, but it's kind of interesting. It's either like you're reaching for them or they're reaching for you, but you can kind of feel the tension and maybe like one person wants to let go. I'm also getting that there might be strings attached to the affection. So this is particularly about the past. Maybe you had to date a certain type of person, dress a certain way, get a certain grade in a certain class to be deemed lovable or okay. This card is coming through, especially with the gem, to say you are perfect the way you are, and people that love you and can see that, those are the ride or die people that are going to be the ones that you really want to pay attention to. It's the ones that sort of cherry pick the attributes that they liked or projected out constraints or conditions on love. Those are the ones in this moment in time that the universe is encouraging you to kind of separate yourself from and focus more on loving yourself, being with yourself, and being very happy with all of the beauty that lies within. That has to happen first. Self-love, self-acceptance. And this is, for some of you, just peer pressure that may still be coming through because we never, as much as the world advances and people have kind of become enlightened, there are still societal norms. There are still certain things that are expected of all of us. And we are constantly pushing back at those as we evolve, as we realize one size does not fit all when it comes to how your life is going to look. Live it for yourself. Don't live it so someone else can vicariously do what they wanted to do in your experiences, okay? Some of you might also be feeling the need to focus more on family or maybe start a family because the Ten of Cups can represent that. I do like that we see that hand outstretched. If you are the kind of person that has a difficult time leaning on others, but people invariably lean on you, don't be afraid to even out the exchange. That is, in fact, why Temperance came through in the middle and the angel was upside down. So for some of you, it's okay to say no occasionally. It's okay to reach out and say, I need some advice. I need some help. Can I count on you? And again, taking one step at a time. You'll get through that path, but you don't have to do it all at once. There are people there around you, and you might just be reconnecting with some people from the past as well that you miss. And all of these things are good lessons, basically. Looking at the recent past, we have an Ace of Swords. So this is potentially the second, because I'm reading this as Ace of Pentacles. Now we have the Ace of Swords. She's upright. Usually there's no character on it, but we actually have a character on this one. So there is this energy of things taking root and form and shape right now. I like that we see it right around the crown chakra, and it's kind of growing out of the crown, because this is what happens with the Ace of Swords. Ideas are here, and we are able to share them through what we write, how and what we say, and then also through our actions. And that's what swords are, thoughts being pulled into reality through words and actions. So the universe is saying, are you ready to communicate it, whatever it is that you want to do? Speak your mind. That's a better way to put this. And there are so many ways to do that, from visual aids and pictures to words to just showing your action and being a person that is just sort of really a great leader. So this ace is encouraging you to take action this month. And then we see something, someone, or just the universe basically coming through and saying, you'll see movement on this, and it's coming in the form of resources. So we have the Knight of Pentacles here in the upright position. This knight is taking a moment to drink it in. He's not riding quickly on the path. He's stopped to get the lay of the land. He's stopped to enjoy the progress made and also to figure out where to go next. So we're at a point in time right now where we don't really have to stop for directions. We can just ask our mobile devices to, look it up, and usually just verbally too, asking the virtual assistant to say, hey, give me directions to this, and it looks it up and it pulls it over your car speaker, for instance, and you're good to go. I moved to LA in 2000, and that was a point in time where Bluetooth was not prevalent. iTunes hadn't sort of revolutionized things, so you were still using CDs and stuff, and you would need to pull the car over and look at a map if you needed instructions. Some devices existed, but they were expensive and they didn't last a long time. Batteries could go, etc. So basically, it is in the not too distant past where we had to sometimes stop and get the lay of the land. This card is encouraging you to do that in your life in a more symbolic way. So rather than constantly relying on external GPS, friends, family, teachers, society, this is saying you have the key to make the right decisions. Slow down just long enough to decide, how do I feel about where I'm at, with who I'm spending time with what I'm doing? Does it feel right? Is it what my heart desires? Is it making a difference? Is it right? Is it a fit? And if it isn't, then use your third eye, your crown chakra, your guides, and your guidance to sort of say, what do I want to do? And it should be easy. It should be something that comes through. And if not, spend some time to meditate on it. This knight is not in a hurry. He knows he'll get to the destination, but he's going to be more empowered when he's made sure that he's not just randomly going. Another kind of funny story, like when I was a kid, it was especially, there was no electronic GPS at that point. And I remember when I first started to learn to drive, I'd missed an exit and I thought, well, maybe something else will come up if I just keep driving. And after like another 10 or 15 minutes, I realized I was getting close to the state border and I thought, okay, this isn't where I need to go. I need to just stop and get to directions. And so I learned the value of not to just drive without knowing where you're going. Thankfully, I didn't waste a lot of time and I got in the right direction and maybe lost half an hour or something. But you learn the hard way that sometimes you have to rely on common sense, the help of others, and sometimes it's good to stop without blindly moving forward, okay? And I just wanted to pause and talk about that for a moment. Four of Cups, near future. It's reversed. It's good when it's reversed. There are some cards that I prefer to see this way. This is you seeing another ace that's floating in. So we've gotten the Ace of Pentacles, the Ace of Swords, and now hidden in this one we have the Ace of Cups. But the person couldn't see it initially. It was hidden. Only when this card is reversed is it kind of like right in front of their face. So the Four of Cups represents the universe presenting you with something that may be exactly what you need, but not precisely what you want. So this could mean that in order for you to achieve something, there may be a move. Maybe someone, for those of you that have been looking for love, you decided, I'm going to focus on self-improvement or work or health or something else in my life. And then all of a sudden, love comes in and you're thinking, seriously, now when I've got all these other things bubbling up? The universe has a sense of humor sometimes, and you can get what you want, but not always exactly when you expect it. And so this is about seeing the blessings and maybe finding a way to integrate them even if the timing is off. It's also saying your life is not 100% comparable to someone else. It may be apples and oranges, or it may be rubies and sapphires or whatever. Both beautiful, both important, but not identical. So give yourself a moment to think, this is right for me, and I don't need to rush or I don't need to slow down to meet someone else if my trajectory feels right for me, okay? So there is a lot of like internal speed checking, and what this really has to do with is the goals that we set for ourselves or that others set for us arbitrarily when we're younger or at any given point. You think, well, I was supposed to have this much done by this date, so if I don't do that, am I succeeding or am I failing? It's not that simple. You're doing exactly what you need to be doing now, and if you want to do more, then do more, but do it because you want to do it. And any time that you decide to take the initiative, then you are succeeding. It's not so much about a deadline per se. It's the quality of the experience and the knowledge that you're gaining. And it's also the fact that you've decided that it's important for you. That's what matters the most. Okay, how are you showing up this month? 9 of Swords, a little stressed, a little bit, some of you maybe just burning the candle at both ends. This card can represent uneasy sleep. We can even see this person kind of in the throes of nightmares right now. Typically, it's not as bad as it seems. That doesn't in any way undermine or, sort of take away the feelings that you can have when you have 9 of Swords. A lot of times it's just feeling like, oh my God, how did I get here? What am I going to do? What's next? It's an escalation of the center card. I'm going to pull the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith cards while we're chatting, but here are the things that you can do when 9 of Swords comes through. First and foremost, remember that it's important to rest. You are not a machine. You can't go 24/7. Hopes and fears come through. Fears are part of this to basically inform us of what's important. And so if there's something in your life and you're afraid of it, it's coming through in dreams so you can see it. Let's look at the progression of the 3 swords cards. You've got 2 of them. The third is en route if things don't shift. So the first swords card you got, the 8 of swords, it's a lack of clarity or ambiguity. And we can see that here. Sometimes you can also get tied up in other people's fears. And then this is the one that we're talking about, the 9 of swords. Sometimes putting too much energy into intangible, uncontrollable, possibly even things that won't even happen, but allowing that to pull you in. And then ultimately, this just leads to unnecessary stress. So at this point, 9 of swords, speak up if something is causing you a feeling of distress. Take care of yourself if you're not getting the sleep that you need. Definitely speak with your doctor. There are multiple things, and I'm not a doctor, that could be going on in your life. It could be emotional, it could be physiological, it could be environmental. There's so many things that you can look at there, and it's important to take care of yourself. The good news with the 9 of swords is it's manageable. As long as you take action on that, it's all right. So try to release fear. I always go to research and information whenever the 9 of swords comes through to basically find a way to feel empowered. And Apollo joined us in the background. I'll pull him up towards the end if I remember. Anyway, I was distracted for a second. In the environment here, we have the High Priestess. This card is reminding you that, first of all, you're a good leader. Your thoughts manifest. And it's important to focus on potential, positivity, constructive elements, all of those things, because if you put your intuitive energy behind that, then you're going to open doors rather than close them. Look at how many times we're getting keys here. So we saw it also in the Knight of Pentacles as well. We'll keep an eye out for it, but a couple of cards with doors opening. And the first door will open when you slow down a little bit and pay attention to what's around you. The second door will open when you start to believe in yourself and start to see your value and start to focus on how to get something done rather than the fear, maybe the irrational fear that it won't happen, okay? This is also showing me that some of you might be, maybe you just found a great teacher or a great guru in your life that is kind of opening things up. This is also how you're showing up to others. So you may see this, but others may see this. So try to find a balance between all of this and realize that there's a lot more to you than maybe even you give yourself credit for. And then we have a card of success here. It's all been worth it, Virgo, because in hopes, fears, and opportunities, we have the ability for your dreams to come true. And we have an actor on the stage or a dancer here, and you can't really see everybody else, but you just see her taking a moment to enjoy the spotlight. The card is reversed, so some of you may be a little bit uneasy with attention. Maybe you're more of a background person, but this month is inviting you to step forward, to step into that spotlight, and to really allow for, just to kind of drink in that moment, allow for success to come through. A reversal of this card, as we see here, can be peer pressure again, familial pressure. Also the pressure that you put on yourself for perfection. Perfection isn't the purpose in this lifetime. We are here to learn, to experience, to grow. Growth is not an easy and perfect track. A lot of times we invite in things like disappointment, delays, et cetera, so that we can learn compassion, so that we can see just how strong we are, so that we can understand that it's not always all about what we thought it was all about. There's more to the puzzle. So don't focus so much on success. Know that if you can just enjoy this moment and be yourself, that success will find you. And again, it's subjective, so maybe it's time to redefine your parameters for what success is. There are two 3 of Swords cards in this deck. One shows a little bit more pain, one shows knowledge. You got the knowledge 3 of Swords. And so exactly what I was just talking about is coming through. Notice how we have this liberation. We have all these birds here around his crown, and then we have all these letters kind of coming up from the book of life. And the swords are there saying, I'm sorry I had to teach you this lesson in this way, but you're free now. You're not on this path anymore. You're free to bounce back. You're free to elevate and do new things with your life. And it's an invitation to let something go. The card is reversed. Again, it's the elevated version of the card in this deck. So there may be, as I said before, something that's very manageable, a little hiccup. It's like when a scar fades and there's just a little remnant of something. You're like, this is barely anything compared to what I went through before. So an echo of an echo of an echo of an old lesson. And this time, you've got it, folks. You're going to be A-okay, all right? Let's go ahead and transition into the expanded forecast to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. One thing that I will say, even with this, and we'll keep an eye out for it, healing is going to be a part of this journey, and we'll look for opportunities for healing in the expanded forecast. Let's begin with the first of the expanded categories, health and well-being. You'll see a little disclaimer at the bottom here. I look at energy, so if there is anything going on with finances, with your health, with anything where you need an advisor, obviously work with that appropriate advisor. Now let's look at the energy surrounding health. It's about acceptance. I lovingly accept myself. Maybe something that didn't happen in the past, or maybe something that you're having a hard time doing because things didn't go exactly as planned. This card is coming through and saying, don't dismay. Things are exactly where they need to be at this moment in time. Love and accept who you are, and love and see the potential of what may be. You are the gem, but you have to see that value. You have to embrace that, okay? So self-confidence, self-love, self-appreciation. Sometimes it takes the assistance of others to see that, and if that's the case, then definitely lean on some people that can help you do that. Now let's just look at general messages around health. We already talked at great length about this. Sleep quality and quantity, they're not mutually exclusive or inclusive. We each need a different amount of sleep, but it really does also depend on the quality. So make sure that you're getting both, and also stress management is a part of this as well. There could be there's no other way to say it, but there could be family members that are very needy or clingy or need a lot from you. And what is going to be important here, much like I talked about in channeled messages, is simply having healthy boundaries and sticking to them. Some of you may have a fear of being in a public sort of spotlight, and so whether it's public speaking or just there's more attention in your direction, it could just also be this fear of like, will I meet up to expectations? Based on what I see, you'll more than meet them, but it's an internal thing that you have to work on there. Healing your heart, which is usually emotional. It can be a literal card too, so there could be some stress that's causing things like high blood pressure, etc. Again, not a doctor. Talk to a doctor if any of that's going on. Usually I read the Three of Swords though as rebounding, especially when reversed, from disappointment, a breakup, or something in your life where you felt like it didn't go the way you wanted it to. You're on the heels of success right now. Don't second guess success when it comes through. Yes, you deserve it. Yes, you are worthy. It may not have happened when you thought it should have happened, but that's okay. I like to talk of like sometimes there's a second or third act in your life that's more exciting than the first act, right? When you think of actors and singers that achieve levels of success that they didn't when they were younger, and sometimes generations only know them. Betty White is a great example. Beloved, but she'd been around for years. I've also mentioned before, like Tina Turner, Ian McKellen. Like these folks have been around for decades prior to when they kind of had their breakthroughs. And a lot of them had it in the middle or latter chapters of their life, and it was nonetheless spectacular. Sometimes it's even better. So you have a second, third, fourth act that are queuing up for you. Don't think that it's all said and done. The story continues. And that's really what this is saying here. The story continues. What's next? What do you want? Let's close the chapter and embrace healing. And that's pretty much it here. There could be a need to go for a second opinion when it comes to health because the Four of Cups can be someone overlooking something that might be obvious to someone else. Meditation is important right now. Really give time for spiritual pursuits. You can definitely go much deeper in your intuitive development in this period of time. It does all begin with love. Love is the language of the universe, and love attracts love. So really focus on self-acceptance. Let's transition into the energy of wealth and prosperity. This can touch things like your resources, not just money, but time and energy as well. The card that came through was an active card, but again, we have now a knight that is pausing. So you have two pensive knights that came through, the Knight of Pentacles. Now we ostensibly have the Knight of Swords. He's thinking before he speaks. He's really searching his memories, his words, and he's going to make sure that when he takes action, he has a plan and he knows how to do it, how to say it, and why he's doing it. So when it comes to wealth and resources and life purpose, again, we have an introspective pause, a set of ellipses, just like so when it comes to money and it comes to action, you're slowing down and you're thinking, why do I want this? How do I want to do this? Who am I doing this for? Ask those questions like you're an interviewer. Ask them of your higher self and make sure that the reason that you're doing things, it's the right reason. If you need something, ask. I say this enough that eventually it'll probably go on merch, but you have to ask and you have to state things to the universe. I'm ready for this. Let's do this, so that it can show up and open up the synchronicities for you. Okay? Be brave, be honest. Bravery and honesty, especially the honesty piece. We don't see a lot of that anymore. So that honesty will pay off. Okay. We also see roses behind this knight. So talking about this knight might have gone through the lessons that we see in the Three of Swords. Roses have thorns. It's a little bit of work to get to that beautiful flower. It's worth it, but it's work. All right. What's going on with respect to money and resources? Well, I quite like these two cards here. This is where your head's at. So we have the Knight of Pentacles here. This is your opportunities. We have the Six of Wands. And now we see the rebound or comeback card here. So success on the heels of disappointment. Taking these lessons and making the most out of them. Seeing the positive and seeing an opportunity that might have been right in front of you. It looks good, folks. But it is sometimes on the heels of maybe a year or two or a month or two or a week or two of struggle where you're like, why did it take so long? Maybe just so that you could be completely positioned and for everything to, for you to appreciate what's in front of you, okay? A lot of this is perspective this month. If you're looking for work, there's three opportunities. One is the self-confidence that we've been talking about. So these two go together, the Ace of Pentacles and then this sort of value that you put on yourself. We have a hidden ace in this Four of Cups, so there could be an opportunity knocking, but this has to be in place first. You have to also speak up. So we're getting an Ace of Swords here that shows it's very similar. I'm using obviously radically different decks here, but almost the same position. Hold your tongue for a second, pause for a second, and really make sure that it's what you want. That's the most important thing right now, but you could have a couple, 2 or 3 opportunities in front of you. It has to feel right, and you shouldn't have to force it. And you might want to wait an extra hour or day before reaching out to someone. Let them get back to you in their own time. Don't rush this. If it's meant to be, it will be, and if it's not, it won't, and that's okay. There is a chance to get more. There may also be, for some of you, don't be upset if you ask for something and you don't get it, or if someone says they're not interested, because that will open another door for you. Sometimes we have to know for sure that this isn't it, so that you can use the keys that we see on these two cards to open another door. So rejection is protection and redirection towards another door that might be open to you. So because I see up to 3 aces here, don't be upset if you get 1 rejection. There's still 1 or 2 opportunities on the horizon. If you're at a point where you're either retired or you're between jobs, it is a time to slow down and go more introspective. A lot of creative energy coming through with this as well. And you're going to see, it's a time to count blessings and see just how lucky and how blessed your life is at this point, so that you can start to open up to new opportunities as well. Okay, let me see if there's anything else that we need to focus on. Just that you could, if you want to go back and sharpen your tools a little bit, you can do that. So if you want to go back to school, this card can definitely represent that. Because again, it's taking that stone and polishing it in a way where you can see new things. So there's a skill set that is required for that. Moving on to love and relationships, we have Green Tara here, supreme protection. The card is reversed. This is saying that some of you are starting to let the walls down a little bit. You are protected. Cords are being cut. Move beyond limitation. Learn to trust yourself. So cord cutting is absolutely something that you could benefit from in this period of time. And you can just meditate, connect with Archangel Michael, or just connect with your higher self. And imagine that you are pushing out these luminous, sort of like rays of light. And as you're doing that, the rays of light will cut off any connections that don't need to be there. You can use this gemstone as a meditation technique this month, and that would be very helpful. All right, let's focus now on relationships. For those of you that are currently in a relationship, the first two messages are the most important. It seems like one or both of you could be at a point where it's difficult to be patient or to understand where the other is coming from. There could be a lack of validation, like thank you goes a long way. I appreciate when you do this. I saw that you did that. Or checking in with the other party and saying, I noticed that you've been having some trouble sleeping. Is there anything that I can do? Do you need some help? What's going on? How can I be there for you? So that's it. Being more present, being more patient. That can help so much, beyond your expectations, actually. And again, maybe just if you see the person pulling away a little bit, again, it's time to have a conversation, because there could be someone that just has a hard time showing vulnerability. And so you could even open up with some of the things that are making you feel frustrated in life, not necessarily the relationship. Just say, I've been going through a lot. I'm sure you're going through some stuff. How did this work out? So you can kind of like pull it out if you need to. The other thing here for the two of you is it feels like you might be spending some time figuring out what you want. We have two different nights here. So one focusing a little more on work, one maybe focusing on making some changes in their life. Either way, I quite like what I see with these, and it's just a matter of making sure that you communicate where you're at. Neither of these nights are looking at each other. One has got their eyes closed, one is looking in another direction. Even when it comes to communication, we're not seeing any of these characters looking at each other. So eye contact and communication are key. And just an acknowledgement that, it's okay to not be happy. Like, we don't have to put sort of like glitter and rainbows and unicorns. We got a unicorn, by the way. But we don't have to put that on every single situation. It's important to feel the emotion, to learn what we need to feel from that emotion, and then you can come up from that and be appreciative and say, wow, that was a rough experience, but I'm in a better place now. But you have to learn what you need to learn from that so it doesn't come back and you don't repeat it. So this is where, for some of you, therapy may be beneficial. That's how you can learn the lesson, or talking honestly to one another. So just some communication, folks. Yes, some of you may be at a point where you just want to go your own ways, because I see that with the nights in different directions. But some of you, it's just about being able to see it from the other person's perspective. So open communication. All right, if you're looking for love, here's what I see. First of all, I feel like you need to practice better self-care right now. Your schedule might be so busy that you don't have a lot of time or energy. You might be burned out a little bit, so take care of that. Don't fear that it won't happen. Focus instead on validating yourself, focusing on things that bring love and joy and fulfillment into your life. And that person will show up exactly when they need to show up and exactly when you're ready. Even if you don't think you're ready, the universe knows. We're getting an earth sign coming through for you. We possibly have an air sign here on the side, but more earth based on the sort of center cards here. I think this is a time to focus on your healing and your path, to be honest. And I'm not afraid to say that. There's a lot of introspective work that's going on. So focus on yourself, and that leads into those that are single and happy. Perfect timing. I see improvements with finances. I see healing and a deepening of an understanding of what your possibilities and potential are. That yin yang can also be like this crystal where she's starting to see just how much she can do here, this high priestess. All right, and that leads us to the unicorn. For some of you, you're looking for the unicorn out there. Unicorn job or partner or pet, and it takes a little bit of time to find that special thing. So focus on trusting in your ability to manifest, believe in magic, believe in potential, and when the unicorn shows up, embrace it. This is also saying you're not supposed to blend in, folks. The unicorn represents making the impossible possible and sort of like stepping out of the crowd and being authentically you, okay? Let's go ahead now and give a deeper look at, or take a deeper look, I should say, at the sun, rising, and moon sign messages. Let's give the cards a shuffle and see what's coming through. Sun, rising, and moon. All right. For the sun, we have the Three of Cups. This is an opportunity to be seen, to see others, to basically network and open up your network a lot. If you're looking for love, this bodes well. This is showing me that there can be a wealth or abundance of opportunities, that if you were in a dry spell, the Three of Cups shows an end to that. When it comes to business and other aspects of your life, this can be unexpected people coming in. I talked last month about how I met a few neighbors on the block, and we've done a hike, and I've met some other people because I have a dog, and you kind of meet others that have dogs in the neighborhood. And I've had these organic meetings because I've now been here for almost, 3/4 of a year. It takes time to get settled in places in your life, in a new job, in a new home. And then suddenly things just start to open up, and you start to blend in, and people start to talk to you. So for some of you, you're going through that. Embrace it. See where it leads. You never know. And it's worth raising a cup and saying, all right, let's give this a shot. Let's see how this goes. This is a great time to reconnect with old friends. It's a great time to pick up on a hobby or an activity that brings you joy. And yes, there could be love coming into your life or new friendship. Moving on to rising sign messages, we have the Five of Pentacles. This is one of the only cards in this whole spread today that shows where some work needs to be done. It's interesting that it came through in rising, because a lot of times this is basically showing up in work. Don't accept less than your worth. If people don't treat you with respect and appreciation, it's time to move on. And it's a great time to do inner child healing. Some of you may be seeking a job or sort of outreach opportunity where you can give back. And so this is one great way to heal the inner child, is to help others who have been through the same experience. And you can teach from that, and you're still teaching yourself as you're talking about your stories and your sort of struggles, and showing that there is another side to this equation, that you may think that it's the worst, but the other side is well worth it. So talking through your experiences. When it comes to purchasing, negotiating, and contracts in general, this is showing that there needs to be some negotiation or some work done on the final figure. For you, it may mean that if you're trying to sell something, someone's trying to get it for too cheap. If there's a negotiation for salary, same thing, you're worth more. So always fight for your worth. And if someone's trying to take more than they should, this is about you standing up and saying, no, that's not what this is about. It's a time to heal as well with siblings and children. And again, heal that inner child. All right, let's focus now on the moon. The moon, you got one of the best cards here, the World. We see a keyhole here with new opportunity. It's the genesis of something new. It's a rebirthing sort of energy as well. And the sky's the limit, but you have to be able to approach this with the sort of energy of the baby cards in tarot, which would be like the Fool or the Sun. Both very powerful cards. The Fool is a clean slate. The Sun it's a personification of power and charisma, and Six of Cups, joy and camaraderie. So we need to pull some of those energies into the World card for that expansion to happen. Some of you might be thinking of moving or doing something really, really important to you in this lifetime. This is the time to do it. And this is one of the best cards in the spread so far. So yay for that. All right, let's move on to the final question and the final card. Every reading, I do my best to throw out a net and canvas everything that's coming through, but each of you has your own story and your own experiences. So if there's something that you're going through that I haven't had a chance to look at, focus on that right now, and let's see what the cards have to show. All right, we have the Six of Swords. The Six of Swords is a confirmation that movement is underway. As a yes, no, it's a yes, but it's a yes with ellipses or with a dash. It's saying yes, but in order for this to happen, either you have to kind of like rev the engine and get it started, or for some of you, there might be a physical move that's necessary to create the desired action. So this could be a transfer, this could be travel, this could also be reaching beyond expected or standard borders and knowing that things are going to be just fine. This is also a card of transformation and healing. So it is showing a massive application of skill knowledge here. So skills and knowledge, I should say. So this card was saying, I learned a lot through challenges. This is saying, now I'm moving on. This can sometimes be heartbreak or disappointment. This is rising up and basically moving to greener pastures. So I see a lot of change, a lot of movement. This was echoed when we looked at the rising cards. So we see two cards of expansion and travel. And some of you may be drawn or inspired to do some traveling at this point in time. All right, that, my friends, is everything for this month. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. And if you'd ever like to see future videos, remember, every Monday, Thursday, and Friday, I drop new videos. And on every Sunday, I do a live stream to help map out the week ahead. If you haven't watched that, take a look. It'll be on my main channel page as the featured video. I also do daily card reads to help you out. So give me a like and subscribe if this is something that you're interested in so you don't miss out. Click the bell as well, and you will be notified of future videos. Since you had a lot of changes and opportunities going on, you could put either a picture of a unicorn or the diamond emoji and let me know what it is that you're working on this month and seeing some progress with. I always like to see that. It helps the channel grow and it helps others discover this, but more importantly, I like to see where you're at. So thank you for that. Also, give me a follow on social media if you would like to be reminded of present and future videos. It's always my name at Nicholas Ashbaugh on the major platforms. You can also go to my website for more information there. Remember, I never offer private readings and I don't use direct messages. So anyone that is saying that they're me and is pretending to do that is an imposter. So please report them. Thank you in advance if you've given back for super stickers, super chat, or memberships. It really helps this channel's growth, and I appreciate you for doing that. All right, as we close, I thought I would bring Apollo here just to wish all of you the best. Thank you so much for being a part of this channel, for the love and support that you show to us, and from my heart to yours, and from Apollo as well. Wishing you all the best. Take care, everybody.